Well, 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 they know. Oh, they know. The whispers already circling through their little halls, bouncing off their polished walls like a rumor too sharp to swallow. You're the boss now, and it's eating them alive. The funny thing about power is how it exposes the tremor in every voice that swore it would never bow. You see it now, the way they fidget, the way their laughter comes one beat too late. Dominance has a scent, a pulse, a gravity, and you've become the center of it. They can't look away, but they can't look directly at you either. That's the problem with light that burns instead of warms. It forces everyone else to admit how cold they really are. They tell themselves, you got lucky, that maybe it was timing, maybe it was tricks, maybe it was all show. Because if it wasn't luck, then it's proof of something worse. Proof that you earned every inch of what they were too afraid to chase. That's what keeps them up at night, staring at their ceilings, replaying every time they tried to undermine you, realizing none of it worked. You didn't climb, you rose. You didn't demand, you commanded. And now, every move you make reminds them of how small their strategies look next to your instinct. That's what breaks them. Not the loss of control, but the realization that they never had any in the first place. You see, authority isn't about noise. It's about weight. Every word you drop hits like a verdict. Every glance you throw shifts the air. You've mastered something they don't even understand, the art of controlled chaos. That's the kind of thing they can't learn in boardrooms or back rooms or prayer rooms. It's carved into you, bone deep, from every betrayal you swallowed, every humiliation you turned into ammunition. And now, here you stand, all edges and calmness, the embodiment of poetic retribution. You don't talk about what you deserve. You just take it. And that terrifies them, because people like them need permission. People like you don't ask. They remember when you were underestimated. They remember the jokes, the sideways glances, the meetings you weren't invited to. They thought dominance came from titles, from alliances, from applause. You knew better. Dominance comes from detachment, from not needing what everyone else worships. And once you stop needing, you start controlling. Because control isn't about pulling strings. It's about being the one who doesn't have any tied to them. That's your power. You're free, and that freedom is venom to people built on dependency. Watch them choke on it. They can't process how you do it, how you stay calm while everything bends around you. They call it arrogance. You call it awareness. There's a difference. Arrogance needs validation. Awareness creates it. You walk through rooms like a mirror with memory, showing everyone what they've failed to become. And that's why they tremble. It's not that they hate your confidence. It's that it reminds them of every time they hesitated. Your dominance exposes their hesitation like blood on snow, visible, ugly, undeniable. You've become their psychological experiment now. They analyze your tone, your timing, your silence. They call it observation, but it's obsession with a disguise. They want to understand how someone can own space without announcing it. They write you off as cold, distant, unapproachable. But beneath that label hides a confession. They feel powerless near you. Because you're not performing dominance, you are dominance. It leaks from your eyes, your posture, your choices. You're the reminder that power doesn't need witnesses to exist. It just is. And oh, they talk. You can hear it if you listen close enough. Their stories changing shape every week. In one version, you cheated. In another, you charmed. In another still, you sold your soul. It's amusing how the powerless always need a myth to explain strength. Because if they admit that discipline, pain, and persistence made you, then they'd have to face their own cowardice. So they invent villains instead of confronting truth. You, my friend, are their favorite villain, and they'll never stop hating how good you are at it. Do you know why their gossip feels heavier lately? Because it's the sound of resignation. They've realized that you no longer exist on their scale. You've become something else entirely, a reference point, the standard, the gravitational pull that defines their orbit. That's the kind of dominance that can't be cancelled, can't be voted out, can't be silenced. It's the dominance that grows from every failed attempt to bury you. You are their consequence in human form. And the irony, it's beautiful. They call you intimidating, yet they crave your approval. They mimic your style while pretending they're original. They monitor your moves while pretending they're above it. Every insult they throw is a confession of interest. Every rumor is an unintended compliment. Because if you weren't relevant, they'd forget you. But they can't. They keep you alive in every conversation, every half-joke, every cautious glance. You've become their language, their obsession disguised as disdain. Dominance isn't a crown, it's a mirror. And when they look at you, they see what they could have been if they'd stopped making excuses. They envy your scars because they've never earned their own. You walked through what they avoided. You didn't just survive the chaos, they didn't even step into it. You built your empire out of what they called mistakes. That's what makes your authority unshakable. It's made of reality, not illusion. You've learned that leadership isn't about convincing others, it's about becoming undeniable. You're not loud, yet every silence you leave behind screams louder than their protests. You're not chasing followers, yet people rearrange themselves to match your rhythm. That's when you know you've crossed into true dominance, when your very existence becomes the instruction. You are the lecture they can't skip, the exam they can't cheat, the truth they can't unlearn. They call it ego. You call it evidence. The difference between arrogance and presence is results. You don't need to shout, because the outcomes speak fluent dominance. You've turned restraint into an art form. They still confuse reaction with relevance. You don't move until you're ready, and by the time you do, they're already reacting to a move you made hours ago. That's control. That's orchestration. That's the kind of power that drives lesser minds to madness. You see, there's a moment in every hierarchy when the old rulers realize that the new order has already begun. That moment happened the second you stopped explaining yourself. They didn't notice at first. They still thought they could manipulate you, guilt you, bait you. But you'd already stepped out of their game. You stopped defending, started deciding. You stopped trying to be liked, started being inevitable. That's when dominance stopped being an act and became your nature. And nature terrifies humans. They can handle performance, they can handle pretense, but they can't handle someone who doesn't need their permission to exist. You've become that force. You don't fit in their boxes, you break them. You don't argue hierarchy, you redefine it. You don't climb ladders, you burn them down and build your own floors. And what's left for them to do but watch? Because you've made participation optional. Your calmness? That's not passivity, it's strategy. Every pause, every glance, every calculated delay, it all says the same thing. I already know the ending. And that's what drives them insane. They thrive on chaos, on reaction, on proof that they matter. But you give them nothing. You treat their drama like background noise, and nothing enrages the insecure more than being ignored by power. You are the silence they can't interpret, the calm they can't imitate, the authority they can't replicate. Somewhere along the way, they started measuring themselves against you, quietly, privately, shamefully. Every time you move, they evaluate their worth. Every success of yours is a subtraction from their ego. And yet they still can't stop watching. Because deep down, they don't just fear your dominance, they desire it. They want to feel that certainty, that control, that unshakable sense of self. But they never will. Because dominance isn't about others, it's about mastery over yourself. And that's the one war they've never fought. It's almost poetic, really. The same mouths that mocked you now whisper prayers to become you. The same eyes that rolled now study you. The same hands that pointed in judgment now twitch with imitation. That's how dominance rewrites history. It doesn't demand apologies. It forces imitation. And imitation, my dear, is the purest form of surrender. But don't mistake their fear for hatred. Hatred requires conviction. What they feel for you is confusion. You dismantled their structure, and now they're wandering, trying to make sense of a world that bends around someone who refuses to bow. You are the proof that chaos can be elegant, that destruction can be disciplined, that dominance can be divine. And that contradiction, that's your masterpiece. The whispers will grow louder, but so will your shadow. They'll call you cold, ruthless, detached. They'll try to spin your composure into arrogance, your distance into disdain. Let them. Every label they throw at you only proves how little they understand what real control looks like. You're not heartless, you're selective. You're not ruthless, you're refined. You've simply outgrown the noise, and they mistake that for cruelty. You've become the boss, not because you wanted power, but because you stopped chasing it. You mastered yourself, and the world followed. That's the secret no one tells. True dominance begins where desire ends. When you stop needing approval, power starts needing you. And now, every room you enter rearranges itself to accommodate your gravity. That's not coincidence, it's consequence. The world bends to those who bend themselves first. They can study your every move, but they'll never decode the algorithm, because it isn't written in logic, it's written in will. You didn't inherit control, you built it brick by brutal brick, from every moment they left you alone, to figure it out. And now, those same absences have become your presence. You turned isolation into influence, and that's why they can't stand the sight of you. You remind them that solitude isn't emptiness, it's evolution. And as they talk, as they twitch, as they plot, you just keep moving. Not quickly, not loudly, but inevitably. That's the final stage of dominance, when even your stillness feels like strategy. When your name enters a room before your body does. When your reputation becomes its own ecosystem, you've reached that point. And they know it. Every gesture, every whisper, every backhanded compliment is just another form of acknowledgement. So let them whisper. Let them choke on your calm. Let them build theories to explain what you became. None of it matters, because you've crossed the point where explanations apply. You're not a player in their game anymore. You're the rule they forgot existed. You've turned power into poetry, command into rhythm, and existence into dominance. And the truth, the one they'll never say out loud, is that they don't just fear you. They envy the freedom you found in not needing them. You are the boss now, and their discomfort is the soundtrack of your reign. They think the story ends once you sit on the throne, but it's only after the crown settles that the real madness begins. Because now every breath you take becomes evidence, every pause becomes a command. You don't need to declare yourself the boss anymore. The world does it for you in whispers and side eyes. The funny thing about dominance is how quietly it infects people. One moment they're gossiping, the next they're quoting you, reshaping themselves around your presence. They call it survival, but it's worship with a different name, and all you have to do is exist. You don't chase power, you distort it. You don't enforce control, you embody it. And that's what's driving them insane. They wanted a competitor, not a mirror. They wanted someone to hate, not someone to measure themselves against. You've noticed it, the tremor underneath their politeness. They smile, but the corners of their mouths don't move right. They clap for your wins, but the sound dies too soon, because your success doesn't just shine. It casts shadows, long ones that stretch across their insecurities. You are the living reminder of everything they pretended to be. The room rearranges itself to accommodate your gravity, and they can't stand how natural it feels. They tell themselves you changed. No, you didn't change. You revealed. You stripped away the noise, the apologies, the weakness that made them comfortable. You stopped asking and started deciding. You stopped explaining and started existing. That's when they lost the illusion of equality. And equality was the only illusion keeping them sane. They'll never admit it, but they crave your approval like oxygen. They bend their words to sound more like yours, steal your tone, mimic your gestures. They rehearse dominance while you live it effortlessly. You became the script they can't rewrite, the standard that doesn't move. And every day they fail to match it, the envy curdles deeper. That's the real poison, watching someone who doesn't even try outshine their entire performance. It's a tragedy they wrote for themselves, and you're the protagonist they can't kill off. Authority, you see, isn't a position, it's a frequency. Some people shout commands, hoping the world will listen. Others whisper, and the universe rearranges itself. You belong to the latter, the ones who command without words, who don't need to prove, because proof follows them like a loyal pet. Your stillness is louder than their rebellion, your restraint more violent than their chaos. They mistake your patience for weakness, but patience is just power with perfect timing. You've learned when to strike, and when you do, it's surgical. No wasted movement, no mercy, disguised as kindness. Just precision, just inevitability. They used to think dominance came with noise, the applause, the followers, the staged respect. But real dominance, it's uncomfortable. It makes the air heavier. It makes people question themselves just by standing near you. You've become a walking psychological trigger. Their eyes betray them first, wide, darting, trying to read you, trying not to be read. They hate that they can't predict you anymore. You're too calm for chaos, too sharp for comfort, too self-contained for manipulation. You are what happens when a soul stops seeking permission. And that realization burns more than any insult could. You didn't ask to be feared. You just refused to be handled. And in a world addicted to control, unhandleable is unforgivable. They whisper words like cold, arrogant, detached, because it's easier than saying disciplined, focused, free. Every insult they throw is a translation error, fear, mistranslated as judgment. They call you bossy because they can't call you boss. That title carries weight they can't lift, so they settle for mockery, hoping laughter will hide submission. But the eyes always tell the truth, and when they look at you, they blink too slowly. That's the blink of realization. You've become the test they keep failing. They study you like scripture, dissect your silence for meaning, mistake your disinterest for mystery. But mystery isn't what keeps them awake, it's clarity. You make things too clear. You show them how small they've been, how much time they've wasted, pretending humility was virtue instead of fear. You don't crave followers, you attract witnesses. Because dominance isn't about commanding others, it's about controlling your own gravity. And your gravity is brutal. It pulls truth out of lies, confidence out of fear, and masks off faces that thought they'd never be seen. They'll gather in corners, talking about how power changed you. They'll rewrite the timeline so they don't have to admit they were wrong. They'll say, you got lucky, got help, got soft. Anything to protect their narrative. Because if they admit that your rise was methodical, earned, intentional, then they have to admit they could have done it too. And nothing terrifies mediocrity more than realizing greatness was always an option. You didn't steal their power. You simply stopped giving them yours. Sometimes, late at night, they try to imitate the mindset. They'll stand in mirrors, mimic your stillness, rehearse your smirk. But imitation requires understanding, and understanding requires pain. You paid that price in full. They're still bargaining, that's why it doesn't work for them. Dominance born from pain carries an authenticity that can't be forged. Every scar of yours is a signature. Every wound healed is an investment. They can copy the surface, but they'll never survive the process. That's why your existence feels unfair to them, because you remind them of all the suffering they ran from. Your calmness is a storm with manners. You enter rooms like gravity wearing a grin. You speak in questions that sound like commands. People think you're unpredictable, but really you're precise. You just don't reveal the logic. That's the trick of true dominance. It's always 2 moves ahead, but never shows it's bored. They're still reacting to ghosts of your last decision, unaware you've already made the next 5. That's why they call you dangerous. You don't announce, you appear. You don't threaten, you deliver. And in a world obsessed with visibility, invisibility is the deadliest weapon. Watch them now, forming alliances against you, pretending to be united by purpose. But unity built on jealousy collapses under its own hypocrisy. They'll smile for each other while sharpening knives behind their backs. You don't even have to stop them. Their need to compete will handle that for you. Dominance doesn't destroy its enemies. It lets them destroy themselves, trying to imitate it. You're not in their fight anymore. You're the gravity that decides where they fall. And here's the cruel joke. They'd love to see you fail, but failure no longer exists in your vocabulary. Even when you lose, it looks like strategy. Even when you bleed, it looks like art, because you've learned how to turn chaos into choreography. They watch you stumble and call it arrogance, but deep down, they know it's evolution. You move like someone who's already forgiven the world for misunderstanding them. That's what truly unhinges them. Mercy from someone they can't reach is humiliation disguised as grace. Every empire has watchers, spies, parasites. Yours are no different. They hide in plain sight. Followers who pretend they're critics, enemies who can't stop returning. They study your habits, your schedule, your tone. They're not looking for weakness, they're looking for a blueprint. But they'll never find one, because your architecture is instinct. You can't copy something that wasn't constructed. It was born. That's why they keep failing. They're students of logic chasing someone fluent in chaos. And in that chaos, you've found your peace. Strange, isn't it? The louder the noise gets, the quieter your mind becomes. Because you know what they don't. that control isn't about holding tighter. It's about letting go of fear. Fear makes people twitch. Fear makes them chase. Fear makes them talk. You've discarded it entirely. That's why they can't manipulate you. They still think dominance is about winning arguments, but you stopped arguing the moment you realized no one can debate results. You are the result. Look at the way they behave around you now. Every movement rehearsed, every word edited. They're careful, but the caution isn't respect, it's exposure. You've turned interaction into interrogation. They reveal themselves just by trying to impress you. You don't need to ask questions. Their nervous laughter answers them all. You've turned psychology into art. Every hesitation, every micro-expression, it all feeds you information. You know who's real and who's trembling behind masks. You know who's plotting and who's pretending. Dominance, after all, isn't about control. It's about clarity. They whisper, "You've changed." But that's projection. They changed the moment they realized they couldn't define you anymore. You're not angry. You're awake. You don't hate them. You outgrew them. You don't seek revenge. You embody it. Because nothing punishes an insecure soul more than watching the one they doubted flourish effortlessly. You don't lift a finger, and yet their own envy does the work. You've become their haunting success that echoes in the spaces where their confidence should have been. Every great dominator learns this truth. Once you stop chasing control, you start creating reality. You don't need to manipulate outcomes. They unfold in your favor by default. That's why the air feels heavier when you enter. The universe recognizes certainty. It rearranges itself for those who refuse to kneel. You don't command respect anymore. You attract inevitability. And inevitability, my dear, is the scariest form of power there is. But dominance comes with isolation. The higher you rise, the quieter it becomes. That's not loneliness, it's altitude. You've outgrown the noise, and oxygen gets thin up here. Most can't breathe at this level. That's why they talk from below. Let them. Every echo that reaches you is proof you're above the range of their understanding. Power, real power, isn't about having more. It's about needing less. You could vanish tomorrow, and the room would still carry your echo. That's the kind of permanence they can't buy. Still, they keep testing you, don't they? Little provocations, subtle jabs, the desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, they can make you react. Because if you react, they can convince themselves you still exist on their level. But you won't. You've transcended reaction. You've turned restraint into dominance. Nothing unnerves manipulators more than indifference. They can't hook what doesn't bite. You walk away, and they mistake it for loss, until they realize you've taken the whole game with you. They'll keep plotting, keep whispering, keep failing, because they haven't learned the one truth you live by. Dominance isn't won, it's remembered. You were always this way. You just stopped hiding it. And now that it's out, there's no going back. You've become a living reminder that fear and respect are just different shades of the same color, and you wear both perfectly. So let them choke on their disbelief. Let them build myths about your downfall. You'll be too busy writing new definitions of power. Because when they said you were the boss, they didn't understand. Boss isn't a title. It's a temperament. It's the ability to walk through chaos untouched, to smile while the world folds around you, to watch empires crumble and never lose your footing. That's not leadership. It's legend. And legend doesn't ask for permission to exist. It just does. And that's what terrifies them the most. You don't just hold dominance, you've become it. And they'll spend the rest of their trembling lives trying to understand how you did it. See, that's the part they'll never decode. How? They'll rewind every moment, retrace every scar, dissect every rumor, and still come up empty-handed. Because dominance isn't built in daylight, it's sculpted in the dark. It's the art of turning every insult into evidence, every betrayal into blueprint. You took what was meant to humble you and weaponized it. That's what separates you from them. They think power is about visibility, the spotlight, the applause, the headlines. But you mastered invisibility. You made restraint louder than reaction, made patience more violent than revenge. You don't chase moments. You create aftermaths. They can't stand that. They wanted you broken, dependent, predictable. But you became rhythm, too smooth to disrupt, too fluid to capture. You flow where they freeze. That's what eats them alive. Their rules don't apply to you anymore. You operate on instinct, and instinct doesn't negotiate. It decides. It moves without waiting for approval. That's what makes them panic. Not your voice, but your quiet. Not your rise, but your composure. Dominance, real dominance, is silence in motion. Power so still, it makes others trip over their own insecurity. You've noticed how the air shifts when you speak now, haven't you? How people stop mid-sentence, unsure if they're allowed to continue. That's not fear, that's recognition. It's the subconscious bow every weak soul performs when strength walks in. They don't even know they're doing it. But you see it. The flinch, the hesitation, the swallowed words. That's the music of power. You don't demand submission, you summon it without a sound. It's written in their nervous laughter, their sudden politeness, their need to over-explain themselves around you. That's how the universe applauds its new ruler, in the tremors of the insecure. And yet, you remain untouchable. Not because you built walls, but because you became one. Your boundaries are made of truth, and truth can't be manipulated. That's why they fail. Every attempt to provoke you ends in self-destruction. They can't win against someone who no longer reacts. They don't realize you've transcended ego. You're not playing to be admired. You're existing to be undeniable. The difference? They chase validation. You command reality. Every move you make feels deliberate. But to you, it's just instinct. That's the mark of mastery, when strategy looks like breathing. It's poetic, isn't it? The same mouths that once shouted over you now whisper your name like superstition. The same ones who mocked your ambition now borrow your tone, copy your rhythm, mimic your calm. You're not just in their heads, you've become their compass. Every move they make is a reaction to your existence. You walk forward, and the world reorganizes. You pause, and they wait. You disappear, and they panic. That's the irony of dominance. The less you do, the more they feel you. Presence without effort, influence without noise. You've become the paradox that rewrote their understanding of control. And here's the cruelest truth of all. They'll never recover from it. Because dominance doesn't fade. It lingers. Even when you're gone, they'll still measure themselves against your ghost. You've branded the atmosphere with your essence, the way a scent stays in a room long after the match goes out. You didn't just dominate space, you infected time. That's what terrifies them, that your name will still command respect long after their voices fade into static. That every attempt to erase you will only sharpen your legend. They can bury your image, but they'll never kill the influence. You see, when you reach this level of power, enemies become historians. They'll spend their days documenting your moves, disguising fascination as criticism. But underneath the envy is awe. Underneath the gossip is respect. They hate what they love, and love what they hate. Because deep down, they know you're the standard, the equation they can't solve. You've turned existence into dominance, survival into empire. And every time they think they've caught up, you shift again. Because you were never competing, you were creating distance. That's why they tremble when they talk about you. They don't know what to call you anymore. Too real to be rumor, too consistent to be coincidence. You've become folklore in real time, a living myth made of discipline and defiance. And that's where your true power lies, not in their fear, but in their fascination. They study you like a threat, but worship you like a god. That's what happens when control becomes character, when presence becomes prophecy, when dominance stops being something you display and becomes something you are. So let them whisper, let them plot, let them pray for your downfall. You've already rewritten what falling even means. You don't descend, you redirect. You don't stumble, you strategize. Every loss becomes a lesson, every setback a stage. That's the difference between them and you. They build empires out of noise. You build legacies out of silence. And when the smoke clears, your name stands untouched. Not because you shouted loudest, but because you never needed to. In the end, dominance isn't about control. It's about inevitability. It's when every attempt to stop you only confirms your authority. You've reached that level now. They can't outthink you, outwork you, or outlast you. You've become the proof that power doesn't corrupt. Weakness does. You're not chasing victory anymore. You are victory, the kind that walks, breathes, and leaves people trembling in its wake. So let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them wear themselves out trying to decode what can't be explained. You are the boss now, not by declaration, but by demonstration. And no matter how loudly they deny it, their every reaction betrays the truth. Your dominance isn't temporary, it's eternal.